Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I am stoked to be checking out another new track from Face Yourself. And with this, they've surprise dropped another entirely new EP. They've already dropped one this year called Face Yourself self-titled EP. Now we have Death Reflection. I checked out the title track of it, not knowing it was a title track off of an EP when that was new. It's a fantastic song. This band is very fun, and they just have the polished edges I'm looking for when it comes to this sound to make them one of my most listened to deathcore bands. They are just a huge sound for me. So the song I'll be checking out today is called Unhinged. I've talked in my videos recently about how I'm in the middle of moving. When I get set up at the new house with my upgraded camera and all of that, I'll be doing the full EP, but for now I'm just going to check out Unhinged with the music video for that. I can see now there's already another music video scheduled on YouTube, so they are just consistently cranking out content. I'm very excited about it. I will link their social media, the music video I'll be using in the reaction portion of this, any merch you may be able to get for them if I can find it. I'll link all that stuff in the description of this video. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Those highs were hitting different.
On the fire, you burn me to death. Burn in the flames, I was born again. Dance in the flames, in a burning rise. We can always be concerned. Turning motherfucker burn, let the sky chain and rise.
Oh. Again, for that, I heard this earlier, like that one tone that you get there. So clear.
A fake reflection of a broken dream, a travesty on eyes, running society.
Woo!
A travesty on eyes.
Got that slow down. Face Yourself, Unhinged. Let's discuss. certainly fits in with the sound that they've laid down so far with the first EP, the title track off of this one. Obviously, that's the extent of what I've heard with this track in there as well. I think between the two, it's a hard toss-up, but the title track, I just love that. I feel like it has... Well, let me talk about the track that we just listened to first, and then we'll get further into that. I do feel like it's a good problem to have when I start thinking about what my favorite song from them might be. I think of the closer off of the self-titled EP. That track is one of the best breakdowns that I've heard this year, for sure. I find the fuck around and find out, that type of stuff, to just be really fun. It's well done also, as you can see. The vocals have an incredibly impressive range, and I think that's furthered with this track. The highs that I had mentioned are just way different. It's got that sort of almost, leveled up high shriek type of high scream, but then we get some of the highs that we've experienced in the self-titled EP in Death Reflection. And I'm excited to see what the rest of this EP will hold, even if it's in that same vein as the self-titled one. Both of these will stay on rotation for me. It's not a sound that I see myself wearing out soon, especially because between the tracks that they've put out so far, I feel like there is what I've talked about a lot on this channel is identity. Sometimes you get stuff that sounds very samey. You hear it, you can't really pick songs apart. I don't feel like that's the case with Face Yourself at all, especially when they do big breakdowns like the one I just mentioned, or they have a lot more. Some of those drops, like there's another drop in this one that has that big like fuck and that sort of thing. I just love it. It has the echo on it too to kind of further that in this track, which is a lot of fun, but it doesn't feel the same as when you've heard them do it otherwise. I feel is what I'm trying to express here in way too many words. Visually, I also love what they're doing. These music videos have been killer, and I cannot imagine it's easy to, get together, get them done, all of that, when the band, I believe, lives in different countries as well. I'm pretty sure that Yaya is from France, possibly, or something. I follow her on Instagram. And then, of course, I know Thomas through Sentinels and stuff. Sentinels is out of New Jersey. That's a US band, and I'm not 100% sure. But regardless, even if you are in the same place, putting out material at this speed, kind of gaining the momentum this band is gaining, it's very much earned, because these music videos are done very well too. I love Square Up Studios. They've worked with a lot of bands that I've covered on the channel. You have like the Flames going in this one. Some of the outfits too just are matched in very well. So in this, you also get some of like a very brief sprinkling, I feel, of like a little bit of glitchiness in the guitars and stuff. And if you listen to Collapse by Design through Sentinels, a lot of what Thomas has done, that's kind of the sound. But in some of the moments where the song, I think it was around halfway through the song, maybe a little bit before, but there's a part where sonically it feels sort of like this spiral, and when you take a look at the visuals, the camera sort of spirals as well, goes upside down, and I feel like that's a big sign of paying attention to detail and stuff, not just from a musical standpoint, but your whole image, your presentation, your music video, not just throwing something together. So it feels well thought out, like a lot of care is put into this. And then, right, so I'm talking about the music as well. Going into this project through knowing Thomas, knowing what Thomas has done, and then getting something different than I would have expected, I think, just knowing that Thomas is in the band. Of course, going into stuff like this, you never know what someone may jump into next, so an open mind, but kind of getting a bit of that like glitchy guitar, even if it feels brief, and I have no idea, of course, what else is on the EP. It's possible that doesn't come back, that there are little moments like that sort of sprinkled in. The part I'm talking about was definitely towards the end. I think it was in the last breakdown. Very subtle like glitchiness, but when you listen to the riffs in Sentinels, Collapse by Design, their older material, or anything that Sentinels has done, coming from a band like that, I feel like it's a different sound hearing this. There's a lot of the classic sound in here. Even in this track, you listen to the solo material, that is a much more classic sound than anything else I've heard Thomas in, but this band altogether just feels very different. I think in terms of like straight up deathcore, they're quickly becoming one of my favorites. Of course, I am a huge Fit for an Autopsy fan. It's gonna be really hard for anyone in any bands to come and kind of take away favorite deathcore band from them or anything, but as I'm expanding, there are a ton of bands I listen to a lot that I really enjoyed. This one keeps on kind of like working its way. Okay, I prefer Face Yourself to this, and they're just sort of climbing. So with another EP, the turnaround time is insane. I'm thinking this is a great way to keep the momentum going too. When you're a new band coming into a scene like ours, or any probably, I can't say that I'm well versed across every genre, but it's changed. Things have changed over, definitely with the pandemic and such, but the amount of music that's coming out, the kind of pressure that I've heard musicians talking about, we've talked a little bit in some interviews and stuff, I think it makes sense to kind of prepare this way, have an EP ready to go after your first one, continue getting your name out there. It's not something that's a necessity, but I do think that they're going to benefit from this very much, because people are still talking about the Face Yourself self-titled EP, but now there are two different ones. There are a bunch of music videos to check out. I think that the momentum will be well deserved, but they've also brought not just the talent, not just the material in small doses. They've come prepared to roll out this band, and I think that will end up really paying off. Not to mention, it just goes insanely hard. When you look at these sort of pass-off moments or compliment moments between the two different vocalists, who I'm not sure who, I think the guitar player is, one of the guitar players is the one who does the other vocals. I don't know names, and I'm really sorry about that. I know Eric, I know Thomas, and I know Yaya, but I need to familiarize myself with the rest of this band, since obviously we're going to be talking about them quite a bit. We've got a whole nother EP to check out, but having the two of them sort of complementing each other vocally, that worked from the first, I think it's fairly quickly that we experienced that for the first time, but from that first moment, it just worked really well for me. We're getting a little bit of a different sort of high from Yaya on this track. There are some moments with glitchiness in the guitar, so while this continues with the sound that they've laid down, I still have a favorite breakdown in a different track that will be really hard to beat for this band, but this is just as good as any song in terms of comparing. Picking favorite tracks is going to stay difficult for me as far as I can tell. The two songs I've heard off this EP have been fantastic. I will be making a video to check out the rest once I'm settled in the new house and you see the background change. That will be when hopefully stuff starts getting back to a regular schedule. But Face Yourself is a band to keep your eye on. I wanted to make sure to at least get this video going. I know another music video is coming out. We'll touch back on the EP in full once I've heard all of it. I think between the two tracks, like I said, Death Reflection is going to be my favorite of the two, but it's not like this one won't get a bunch of plays for me or it will be a skip track. This also is really up my alley and kind of refreshing feeling at the same time as it's tapped into a lot of the stuff I already really like in the genre, if that makes sense. So I don't feel like it's, Face Yourself, a brand new genre, but that's not what I need right now. I think having these big hitters on my deathcore side of things, I spent plenty of years really digging into metalcore. I had a very specific style. Proggy metalcore is always going to be like right here in my heart, and Anime is my favorite band, but my range has expanded a lot. I'm getting way further into the hardcore, the deathcore and stuff, and there are some big bands that are just starting out and they're going to be a big thing. This is on the top of my list for them, I think. So those are my thoughts. I will talk more about the EP. If you have not heard anything else from this band or you haven't listened all the way through, I highly suggest that you listen through. They have a ton of just really fun moments, but not fun in a way where it doesn't have repeat value. I think that's the best way for me to kind of describe what I love about it. Sometimes those like big in-your-face moments that are so heavy and ridiculous that they make you laugh, they don't really bring that repeat value. It's like I have to be, but Face Yourself for me is a multi-mood type of band. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, what you're thinking about this band. I will link all their social media, any sort of support links they have for this band in the description of this video, along with the music video. I also will have my link tree there. That'll have the Twitch channel, my Patreon, the Discord server invite link. The Discord server is where the community is based for my YouTube channel. I'm going to be starting up on Twitch very soon with the background change. A lot of stuff will be going to change, but not in a bad way. I'll be doing more content, more streams. Patreon will be getting an update to all the tiers to offer more stuff. So I've got a lot coming. If you're interested in being on board for that, seeing when I start going live on Twitch, that link will be there, the Discord community, all that good stuff. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.